This episode of I've Had It is brought to you by Booking.com. Booking.YEAH. Every time I use Booking.com to find a place to stay in the U.S., I know they'll have exactly what I'm looking for. They have a huge variety of options from hotels to vacation rentals, and I'm always able to find something that fits my specific needs. I found that Booking.com has something for everyone. Find exactly what you're booking for on Booking.com. Booking.YEAH. So are we supposed to start the podcast?
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Welcome to America's top DEI podcast, Patriots, Gaytriots, and Theytriots. That is Miss Angela D. Beaver, America's best DEI hire in podcasting.
I mean, there's no better DEI podcaster than me.
I have a great update on the beaver.
Oh, okay.
It is the animal of Canada.
That makes me love it even more. That makes me happy that I'm Angela, the dawning of a beaver.
The dawning of a beaver. Uh-huh.
Especially now in these turbulent times.
Yeah. You're an eagle beaver. Eagle-eyed beaver.
I don't know how eagled I am.
All right, Pumps, what have you had it with?
Okay, what I've had it with is bad fucking drivers. So on my way to work this morning, there's a car that is so behind. So you're behind the slowest car in your lane. The other lanes are passing like crazy. So I get over and I too am going to pass. And that person decides to speed up immediately, blocking me from passing. And I'm like, you haven't cared how slow you're going this entire time. Everybody's passed you. But now, since I was directly behind you, you're going to be a big tough guy. Had it.
Yeah, the thing about driving is sometimes it feels so good to be like, fuck you, blah, blah, blah. But then when somebody does it to me, I'm like, cool your jets. Like, what's your rush? you know, like I'm always on both sides of the spectrum when it comes to driving.
Well, and it's very dependent on if I'm in a hurry or not, or if I'm just, no problem, don't have to be anywhere on time. My level of anger at the drivers in front of me. But this particularly made me mad because when I'm going slow and somebody passes me, I'm like, oh, you need to speed up. They've sent you a signal. You need to take it. Humble yourself and take it. This person, no, they just rammed up. It was so rude. Rude.
So mine is kind of similar. And I've had it with when I'm driving, my husband telling me which way to go.
Yeah.
And where to park and what to do. And like Josh has this whole thing, like his whole parking approach to everything, and it's really pretty smart, is like he'll pull into the parking lot and you see the people that are like, snaking up and down trying to find a close spot. Josh will pull into a parking lot and drive to the very back of it and park.
I do that a lot.
He's like, I'm not messing with this. I'm not playing this game with these people. I'm going to do it. So when I'm driving, he'll be like, you need to switch lanes. And I'm like, I've got this. I know what I'm doing. And then when we get in the parking lot, just go to the back and park. And I'm like, well, there's one right here that I'm choosing. I get to pick the spot. You don't get to pick the spot. I'm driving. And I don't need the tips, the driving tips. And oftentimes, I'll have on my Google Maps if we're going to watch our son's basketball game or something, and it's guiding me as it should. And then he has to weigh in. And then the ironic thing is sometimes when he's driving, he has on the maps, and the map will say turn left, and Josh's blinker's not on, but I'm like, I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to be that person. And then he starts going straight, and I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, oh my God. And then he thinks he has dementia and all this stuff. So,
yeah, the backseat driving, first of all, it's hard to not backseat drive when you've had kids that you're teaching to drive. But when adults do it to me, makes me crazy. But I know on the flip side, I make my kids crazy because they regularly point it out to me.
I had to correct you the other day because you almost ran over a pedestrian.
That's true. I didn't even see it.
You didn't even see him. And I reached up and grabbed the oh shit bar.
Yeah.
And I was like, pumps. And then you slammed on the brake and the guy was glaring at us. And I was like, we deserve that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you would have hit him.
I would have. And I typically, when something like that happens and I know it's my fault, I'm always like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Like, I'll own that I fucked it up. But here's my new thing with my kids. I grab the bar, but I don't say anything. That seems to enrage them even more. Like, I won't say, slow down. There's a red stoplight coming up. I'll just grab the bar and then they're incensed. The oh shit bar. I like calling it the oh shit bar. I've never heard that before.
Oh, I've called it the oh shit bar for
I've never heard you say
a long
that.
time.
I guess because my driving's so good.
Okay. Welcome to I've Had It. I'm Jennifer.
I'm the dawning of a beaver.
The Dawning of a Beaver. So, we're kind of out here in Trump's America trying to still make our little podcast. And this sucks. Not our show, of course. It's fucking rock solid. But the Trump's America stuff is so daunting.
I feel like as bad as I thought it was going to be, it's exponentially worse. And my expectations were super duper low. But you know what? You just got to keep pushing on.
Yeah, it's really it's really bad. And I have a lot of concern about all of these people that have lost their jobs and the jobs that they were doing, like making sure planes don't crash, making sure water is clean, making sure corporations aren't poisoning us. All of that's been eliminated. And then you have these triple Trumpers that just celebrate. And I it's bizarre. It's a death cult. MAGA is really a death cult, in my opinion.
Well, it's definitely a cult of cruelty and hate.
I'm gonna say it's a death cult.
You're going to go all the way?
Yeah, I am. I think it's a death cult. Okay, Kylie, what's going on the internet?
I've got a couple reviews for you. 5 stars from Brad, titled Gay from Small Town, Oklahoma. And he says, I was born and raised in a very small town outside of Oklahoma City. It was hard growing up gay where everyone hated gays. That said, I'm not proud of anything about Oklahoma except for 3 things. These 2 ladies and Brahms. Keep being a bright blue dot in the hellscape of Oklahoma.
This is why we do this podcast and continue to do it. And we get, hate and all the stuff. And this is why we don't bend. This is why you don't see us move away from this community, because there are millions of gay, lesbian, trans, queer Americans. And either this is a democracy for everyone or it's not. And I have felt the fight for human rights with every fiber in my bone forever. And I've never relented on it. And I probably lost friends over it, but I don't give a fuck. And Pumps can attest to it. Back in the day when we were young moms, Pumps kind of hung out in some Bible circles and we'd go on these girls' trips. And I would go hard in the paint for this group of people. And I'm unrelenting in my loyalty and my support because of how cruel people are to this community. It's just immoral and deplorable.
Well, and having grown up and practiced Christianity before I got some critical thinking skills, the one thing as I look back and I survey the whole landscape of my life, I see that one thing that evangelical Christianity teaches more than anything else is you're better. You're entitled because you're a Christian. And so you have a real callousness to the needs of other people because what happens to them can't happen to you because you're special. And so when you see that, and it's so gross to me now, I feel like it's more important for me to stand up and be strong and not waver, because I was at one point brainwashed into that. And I look back and that's what I see. It's an entitlement, it's righteous judgment, and it is mean-spirited. And that makes me feel good that he is proud of us. It makes me sad that he had to grow up that way.
And, that's the message, Democrats, that a lot of people were indoctrinated. And, in this indoctrination, not only is that you're so special in the Christian narcissism, but there is a massive effort to demonize gay people and tell them they're going to hell and try to deprogram them and all of these things. And you just you can't deprogram homosexuality in the same way that you can't deprogram heterosexuality. You can't do it. Furthermore, why the fuck do you want to do that?
Right.
We talk about a fool's errand, but this is the part of Christianity. There's many reasons why I'm not a Christian, but when I see people that are so like kind of friendly on the surface, but then right beneath it, if you say, well, how are you on LGBTQ plus rights? Well, I mean, my hairdresser's gay, but I mean, if truth be told, we know they're all going to go to hell. And I think, you know what, Becky, you're a cunt. That's what you are. The fact that people think it's their business. And I want to also point out that Christians make gay babies.
Right.
Straight people make gay babies, and it's not a choice. And I hope that the Democrats maintain their support for this community. And if they don't, I want you to know that there are millions of us that will.
That's right.
All right, Kylie, who's next?
Okay, this one is 5 stars, titled Lackluster Listener, and they write, finally got around to reviewing. Worth 5 stars, I guess.
Lackluster.
That's fantastic. That is such a great review.
Yeah, he's a lackluster listener, and it's a lackluster podcast.
Worth 5 stars, I guess. I mean, yeah. I mean, hey, lackluster listener, thank you for doing it, because I have to say this. I'm really guilty of, Angie and I are both guilty of this for years. We would be like, that person, they're such a twat. They shouldn't have done this, that, blah, blah, blah. We're going to write them a letter. And it's some, like
Right.
corporation or some teacher or somebody somewhere that fucked around. And we were going to write a letter to try to rectify the situation, to right the wrong. We never wrote a letter.
No, and that's the thing. It's in the moment you think you're absolutely going to do it. But so taking the time to actually do it, we appreciate it, because I'm not great at it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think I've ever left a review. I think I've left a review on this podcast
For ourselves?
for ourselves when the podcast was really, really young. And I have that email box for stuff that I buy that just all my receipts go to. I think I did it from that one because I didn't want my name to be on it. So I did a clandestine review of the podcast maybe in the first week.
I like that.
It's the only review I've ever
But
left.
it's kind of like, if you're in high school and you're running for student council, you should vote for yourself.
Right.
We should write reviews for ourselves. I'm sure I probably did do. I just don't have a memory of it. That sounds like something we would have said, let's each go write a review.
Yeah, I do think that I was nervous about someone seeing my name reviewing my own podcast. So I remember thinking I was really cute doing the other one.
This episode of I've Had It is brought to you by Booking.com. Booking.YEAH. Every time I use Booking.com, I find a place to stay in the U.S. I know they'll have exactly what I'm looking for. They have a huge variety of options from hotels to vacation rentals, and I'm always able to find something that fits my specific needs. I found that Booking.com has something for everyone. Recently, I took my oldest son and his girlfriend to New York City. They wanted to stay in Soho. Through Booking.com, I was able to find the perfect hotel for us.
What I like about Booking.com is I can find a great vacation rental where my kids and I both have our own space and we have a common area to enjoy, so we don't get sick of each other.
Listener, no matter who you are, Booking.com helps you find the stay that's ridiculously right for you. Find exactly what you're booking for on Booking.com, Booking.YEAH. Okay, guys, you know what time it is. We're giving away a ton of vibrators from Bellesa. Because why? Because they're amazing. Don't take my word for it. Pumps absolutely loves hers. Now, the girlies at Bellesa sent us a ton of new toys, including their new game-changing Silent collection, and our minds are blown.
Yes, Bellesa just launched the first ever silent vibrators. The brains at Bellesa created what they call whisper tech, and somehow, don't ask me how, they made full power, hitting all the right spots, no noise-making lineup of toys. It's actually unreal.
And obviously, we have to hook you up, so we're doing a giveaway with Bellesa where literally everyone wins a free vibrator. Yep, you either win a fully free Whisper Vibe or a free Rose toy with any Whisper order. Just click the link in the episode description or go to bbvibes.com/I've had it. BBVIBES.com/I've had it. The Whisper vibrators stay silent But the big question is, can you? All right, I have some news stories.
Okay.
I have a news story. Okay, this is wild, you guys. Okay, so a realtor was fired after writing on her restaurant receipt, I hope Trump deports you. And so customer Stephanie Levins, she's denied the allegations online, claiming her credit card was lost/stolen, but employees have identified her as the culprit. And on the receipt, she wrote tip 0, you suck. And then she reinforced the total. And then she wrote at the bottom, I hope Trump deports you. All right, go to the next slide. And then somebody that works at Kylie, does this person work at the restaurant?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Wow. Kylie must be doing something she shouldn't be doing, or she wouldn't have thrown out the ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Isabel Natalie writes, y'all hate us, but love our food. Shame on you, Stephanie, for not saying it with your chest. And so this is a Mexican restaurant. And of course, Trump has just fueled these horrible, horrible people. Okay, Stephanie then posts, thank you for all the recent notifications of scammers and profile hackers. I recently discovered a lost/missing credit card and an attempted use/purchase. I am learning that scam bots are a thing, and always be careful of suspicious links, especially if your information has been compromised. AI is a good thing until it's not. So here she is trying to provide cover for her cruel and racist message to the server. Go to the next one. And here she is, after she got fired, selling my dumbbell set, 5 to 50 pounds with rack. Meet up at the police department only. Serious inquiries only $500. And then the next slide. Diana Prince reports she looks like she pronounces the L in tortilla.
Tortilla.
And so this is the part about Trump's America that is the most insidious to me. This is not the golden era of America. This is the age of emboldenment. And you have racists, homophobes, misogynists that are completely, totally, and utterly emboldened by this piece of shit. And his wife, Melania, has the audacity to have a first lady campaign called Be Best to try to get people to not be bullies. And that is so rich and so insulting. And I really hate these people. I hate the way they treat Mexicans. I hate the way they treat minorities. I hate the way they treat the LGBTQ plus community. It is despicable, and more white people need to stand up to these types of fucking bullies because it is intolerable, insufferable, and disgusting.
I'm glad she lost her job. Here's the thing. She was emboldened by Trump's America. I completely agree with you. And there was nothing more MAGA about this situation than her lying about it. When everybody saw her at the restaurant, now she's saying, oh, poor me, I'm a victim. I mean, that's the most MAGA thing of all.
That's a good point.
I mean, it's the double down lying when you know you're lying.
Yeah. No, hey, I just want to tell you, you have some eyeliner.
Oh, gosh.
And I know I got called out a couple episodes
getting
ago. Yeah, below the right eye. Right. It looks a little better. But I just wanted you to know.
Okay, good. And you're on record.
Calling out in real time.
Okay, good. Let me see. I can't see.
Back to the racist liar. That to me is just, that is happening nationwide. Kylie, why don't you tell our listener what happened to your lesbian friends that were recently married?
Yeah, so they were just posting about their relationship. They're not influencers. They don't have a lot of followers. And they got this hateful message from a burner account. And it said things like, fuck you, F word. And it just goes on. I hope you burn in hell. I hope you die. I hope you get shot. I hope you get murdered, whatever. Anna posted it on her story because we get messages like that all the time. And we don't usually like to platform them, but she wanted to post that so that people see it, her family sees it, these people that vote for Trump see what is really happening behind the scenes.
And this is happening nationwide, and this is the very underreported consequence of Trumpism, is that people are emboldened to be more racist and to be more homophobic and to be more misogynist. And Pamps and I have received a shit ton of horrific similar messages. And we no longer post on Twitter. We have Twitter, but we put the locks on it because we need to go vet, news and whatnot when Trump or Musk or somebody tweets something. But it's a really dangerous space. And who benefits from all of this is Zuckerberg and Musk. And it's making a worse society. And I just think this, if I had billions of dollars and I could leave some form of an imprint, I would want it to be a good one.
Right.
I would want to, if I wanted capitalism that much, I would want my message to be the system is completely broken that I was able to get to this place, while somebody who physically works a lot harder than I do doing 2 jobs, raising kids, couldn't get health insurance. I would want to have a bigger message. But instead, Zuckerberg goes on, I guess he went on Rogan. I can't remember what podcast he went on.
I think it was Rogan.
And said he was tired of feeling neutered, which I'm like, that's your fucking issue.
Right. That's a you problem.
Yeah, you're a billionaire and you still feel neutered. I mean, this is a Mark Zuckerberg problem. And then we see Elon Musk running around with a chainsaw, tripping out on drugs, cutting working people's jobs. And there is just a cruelty to MAGA. There is a recreational cruelty where these people feast on this cruelty. And from time to time, I try to watch Fox News, and the cruelty in it is so disturbing. I really think that these people are just really sick fucking puppies.
I agree. And what the through line when we get death threats, it comes through Fox News a lot of times. Like if they mention our podcast on Fox News, that's when we get all these death threats.
Also, when Andrew Tate tweeted us, that was the worst of the worst.
And Andrew Tate. But it's like what is so hard to reconcile. I mean, it's not really hard, but on the surface it's hard, is these are all the people that would say, if you looked in their bios, peace, love, and Jesus. We are Christians, support our Christian this and Christian that and our values. But yet you have no problem saying you want people to be raped and you hope they kill themselves. Like, where's the disconnect in that?
I think the disconnect is this. The MAGA Jesus is a dick.
Right.
I mean, just full stop. He's a capitalist, wants people to be cruel, doesn't want people to have health care. There's all of these like hardcore evangelicals that are coming out right now saying empathy is a problem.
Right.
And so they're trying to identify empathy as being something that they don't want to value. And so, and all of this is bred in these evangelical churches. And this is where Democrats are losing footing, because we grew up in the suburbs of Oklahoma City, and this mega church culture back in the 80s when I grew up, it was staggering. And it's still going on. I received a message from a friend of mine who sends her kids to a secular private school, and her daughter is in 6th grade. And her daughter got this message, and it was a group text that a sixth grader sent a bunch of other 6th graders. Hi guys, this should have like our group of girls and everything. I want to shake the nerves off, and I wanted to know if you wanted to meet for a prayer group. Please let me know if you want to, and I can find a good time. I want to bring God into people's lives. And if you don't know him and want to come and want to know him, come to me. And I want y'all to know, when I grew up in elementary school, middle school, and high school in Oklahoma, and my parents are not religious at all, zero indoctrination. This type of recruitment was nonstop. It was nonstop into my adulthood. I fucking hated it because these people think, and this, why is a sixth grader out recruiting people for her megachurch? I mean, that is just so fucked up that she's sitting there thinking about heaven and hell and spiritual warfare and eternal damnation and punishment. She's 10 or 11. I just think that is child abuse. I think it is so fucked up to send your kids out to recruit people. And I think it's horrible, 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 and incredibly damaging to tell kids in their developmental stage, if you don't do things the right way, you're going to burn in hell forever. But God loves you unconditionally. I think it's just this huge messed up thing. Now, listen, listener, I know some of you might be Methodist, Episcopalian, Christian light. You don't take the Bible literally. But this evangelical Christianity runs parallel with republicanism. Yeah. And they get indoctrinated in it very, very young. And they feel that a part of their religion is to recruit people. And I have been recruited by these people that I always found to be like, you want me to go to your church? You're the biggest piece of shit I know. Or your marriage is so fucked up and you're advertising for me to go get a piece of your life? I mean, come on now. This is a huge problem in America, this evangelical Christianity. And I'm not talking about Black people. This is a white thing. Right. This is a white evangelical Christianity thing. The Black people that I know that have a faith aren't near this judgmental. They don't try to recruit. It's something that helps them personally try to get through their life. But this white evangelical mega church culture is the epicenter of MAGA, and it is cruel. It is cruel to tell a kid they're going to burn in hell forever.
Well, that's what I was told my entire life. I mean, there was just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And then you start, I think the most damaging thing for me in my personal experience was the lack of critical thinking, was the ability to deny reality in favor of what I wanted to believe it was and not examine every situation that I was in at face value, but going to, well, I'll pray about it and it'll fix it. That'll fix it. That's what affected me the most. And then I'm entitled. It's okay for me because nothing bad can happen to me because I'm a good Christian girl. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it's all insidious, and the recruiting is taught from a young age. And I'm sure the 6-year-old or the sixth grader's mom was like, oh my gosh, little Tammy, she did such a good job. I'm so proud of her. You know, she probably told her Sunday school teacher the whole night. Like, that is applauded. That kind of behavior is applauded.
And the reality is, what that child should be taught is it's not your business.
Right.
You don't claim moral superiority, nor do you claim to have the answers to existentialism in the universe and recruit other people to your line of thinking. And this is able to go unchecked all the time because it's Christianity. But if somebody were Muslim or Jewish or Mormon and they start doing this shit in the group me, it would be stage 5 meltdown by all of these white Christians. And it's just the hypocrisy of Christianity when you live in the buckle of the Bible Belt. And I'm just going to tell you guys, there are people who have gay kids and they do not support their kids. They exile them from their lives. They don't vote for them. They treat them like shit. They try to pray the gay away. And I'll tell you this, there are a shit ton of racists that I've experienced in my life. Every single one of them is also, as big as they are a racist, they're also equally that big of a Christian. Those two things go hand in hand. And this has been going on for over a century. If you look back to slavery, was supported by Christianity. In the Bible, it tells you, gives you explicit instructions of how to treat your slave.
I think it sums up in the phrase moral superiority.
Yeah.
They believe they're morally superior.
Well, this was an uplifting intro.
I know. I was going to say, this sounds more like an iHip News than I've had it.
All right, Kylie, what do you have on store for us today?
We've got some voice memos.
Okay.
Great.
And I'm going to kick it off with someone that has an idea for Angela.
I was listening to today's episode, and I just think that Angela D. Beaver, attorney at law, because I give a damn, would be a great tagline.
I think it's great.
Oh, you know what I need to do is like dress up in sequins and do a little tagline like Angela D. Beaver.
Yeah, I think you should do it. All right, who's next?
Okay, up next, we've got Ashley.
Hello, Angela, Dawn, Jessica, and what's her name? Karen? Yeah, anyways. I know we love to beat a dead horse on this podcast, and so I have one that I think we should drag out again. I am fucking tired of these Trumper Republicans, triple Trumpers, coming out here with, I don't know why we can't be friends with different politics. Bitch, maybe because you don't believe in human rights? Anyways, I just had a friendship breakup about politics, and this girl was trying to tell me that I can't believe you discard someone because of a vote instead of their character. Bitch, your vote is your character, and clearly you don't give a shit about people other than you. White, straight people, okay? So I fucking had it, and I love you guys so much. I love this podcast. It's the only thing keeping me sane in Trump's America. Love you, bye.
I mean, that's exactly how it rolls. Like it's not a situation where I'm breaking up with you because of how you voted. I'm breaking up with you because you're immoral.
Right.
Racism's either you're in it or you don't care that other people are, that you don't value humans. And I think fundamentally it comes down to, and I think this is everywhere, if it doesn't affect me, I don't care. If it affects somebody else, that's fine. It has nothing to do with me. I've been that person, so I get it. But that is fundamentally such a huge problem.
And also, I think there's this situation that liberals or maybe moderates or complete leftists are finding themselves in, where you fought so hard for human rights and you put the needs of marginalized people before yourself if you're a privileged white person. And then you see these piece of shit friends that you've had just, triple trumpet, MAGA it. You see them getting more emboldened. And it becomes off-putting and it becomes a deal breaker. And you're like, you know what? I don't want to spend my free time with a racist piece of shit. And I've discovered now that you're a racist piece of shit. And I was kind of okay with it there for a little bit, but now I can't do it anymore. So this is a breakup. This is a deal breaker for me. And then now the MAGA people are trying to, instead of taking ownership for that and saying, yeah, I get it. If you're not a racist and I'm a racist, you want to hang out with me. Now they're saying, liberals, they aren't hanging out with their conservative friends anymore. It's like, if you were conservative, right, that would be one thing. You don't believe in democracy. You support this cruel man. And then we know about all of this bullying in the DMs that goes way underreported that we just talked about at the beginning of this episode. And you're okay with all that. And it makes you unattractive. Your MAGA makes you very unattractive. And I don't want to be friends with somebody who on the inside is unattractive. You're ugly on the inside. And that's a deal breaker. And so, I mean, for me, I have kind of been doing this for a very long time. It's always been very, very difficult for me. And I've always kept my friend group really small because I'm an atheist, liberal in the buckle of the Bible Belt and always have been so. But now I'm just like, fuck you if you voted for MAGA 3 times.
Well, and you know what I've noticed is I can't even tolerate people like in Teslas, which I understand people are, it was a good thing in the beginning to buy a Tesla. Now Elon Musk's crazy, and I love to see the fall of Tesla. People, not buying Teslas. We have the lady that owns our dog school. One of her best friends has a Tesla. She loves it. She was on back order for the sticker of, I bought this car before Elon Musk was crazy. I guess that's the big sticker people are putting on it. She turned it in over the weekend. She's like, I can't live with myself in a Tesla. I just can't, because people immediately assume I'm an asshole. And I was following somebody on the street yesterday. It was a brand new Tesla. And I thought, that motherfucker's evil. I mean, the hate that drives up in my mind.
It's hard. It's
hard.
It's really hard. You hear about these, these 2 friends of Kylie's that get that kind of message, all the shit we've gotten. And listen, we never really talk about that much. We choose to be in a high profile situation by sitting down every day behind these microphones, and you're going to get that. And we're big girls and we can put on our big girl panties and push through it. And I'd rather us take it because we're pretty thick skinned than somebody who's a member of the LGBTQ plus community. But I'll tell you one thing that like has happened since Trump won, like, and Pumps and I do this, and some of my friends that I play tennis and pickleball with, like we'll go into a place and we just like size up.
Right.
You think they're MAGA?
They're a Trumper.
Oh, no, they look liberal. And you size everybody up. Like you're always questioning, is this person MAGA or not MAGA? Because it's different. Like I remember when people voted for George W. Bush, I did not like him. I thought he was a terrible president. Didn't think he was bright. But there was some friendliness and camaraderie about it. Like if I ran into some of my friends that were George W. Bush supporters, I could razz them. And they could razz back at me and say, oh, you're just a liberal, blah, blah. And it was friendly. But this shit is just, I mean, it's just beyond the pale that you're letting Andrew Tate, who's this huge sexual predator back in the United States, off the hook. We could just go on and on and on about the moral depravity of these people and how they okay it. But, you know, I mean, it's really disturbing. It's friendship ending for sure.
Yeah.
Listener, if you're a pet parent like Pumps and me, and you take said parenthood as seriously as we do, you know how incredibly important it is to buy your pet's products from Chewy.
Chewy has the absolute best toys when the toys arrive because they deliver straight to your house. My little dog is so excited because he gets a new baby.
I personally love the Chewy's auto ship feature because my dogs never give me that I'm so disappointed in you look when I run out of their treats or when I run out of their dog food. Because with Chewy, I never run out of anything because it auto ships exactly when my little darlings need it. Listener, Chewy has everything you need to keep your pet happy and healthy. And right now you can save $20 on your first order and get free shipping by going to chewy.com/hadit. That's chewy.com/hadit to save $20 on your first order with free shipping. Chewy.com/hadit. Minimum purchase required. New customers only. Terms and conditions apply. Please see site for complete details. Listener, do you want the fastest working GLP-1 for half the price? Ro has got you. Are you ready to lose an average of 15% of your weight faster? Meet the latest offerings through Ro. Pumps?
I love using Ro because it is a tailored program for me through the Ro provider. I don't have to sit in a doctor's office. I don't have to commute to the doctor's office, and the medication comes directly to my door.
This formula from Eli Lilly hits not one but two hormones to curb hunger and with less nausea. Join the over 385,000 people who have already chosen Ro to access GLP-1s. Listener, go to ro.co/hadit to see if you qualify. That's ro.co/hadit. Go to ro.co/safety for boxed warning and full safety information about GLP-1 medications. 15% weight loss is based on a study in non-diabetics with obesity or overweight with weight-related condition on 5 milligram of medication, and when paired with diet and exercise, half the list price when compared to auto-injector pens and when paying cash without applying insurance or savings cards. Okay, who's next?
Okay, up next we've got Ruthie.
I love that name. Super.
Hello, Kathy Bish and Moan, also known as Jen and Pumps. My name is Ruthie, and I'm a fellow Geetriot that lives in the heart of Central Texas. I am in the Army, so Trump is literally my boss, and I am completely alone in a sea of red. So I do listen to the I've Had It podcast and iHip News religiously. I never skip a single episode, and that is the only religious thing about me. Anyways, I have had it with people singing out loud in public, and I know this is a thing that has been discussed before on this podcast, but I just wanted to share my story. So I have to go to the hospital all the time in the Army to go to my appointments, right? And there has been at least, I can count on 2 hands now the number of times I've been sitting and waiting for an appointment and this old man walks through the hallway singing church songs at the top of his lungs. Well, the last time was just the last fucking straw for me because I'm sitting in the chair waiting to have my pap smear done, right? Like the worst type of appointment you can possibly go to, and I am subjected to the torture of listening to Jesus Loves Me. That is the last fucking thing I want to hear when I'm about to be spread eagle on a table with the doctor examining me. No, thank you. I would, you know what? If you want to sing Chapel Roan and Sabrina Carpenter at the top of your lungs, fucking go for it. But Jesus Loves Me, absolutely not. Jesus does not love me, according to my family, who has completely disowned me because I'm a raging lesbian. Anyways, just wanted to share that with y'all. Thank you for producing such an amazing podcast, and I hope you're all doing amazing. Mwah. Kisses. Bye-bye.
Ruthie, I mean, my heart, when I hear about parents that disown their children because they're gay or shame them because they're gay or know that they are gay, and despite that knowledge, go and vote for Donald Trump. The sense of conditional love those kids must feel and how harmful that is, it breaks my heart. And I want you, Ruthie, to know that there are millions of women and men like Pumps and me who love you for you and all of the other Ruthies out there. And it is just, we only have this time on earth, and it's just horrific to me that you just wouldn't. Ruthie's a lesbian. Who gives a shit? Ruthie sounds like a lot of fun to me.
Yeah. Exactly.
Ruthie sounds like somebody you'd want to sit around and have coffee with and hang out with. And she's funny and she's in the Army.
Right.
And
she's a badass.
It's just, God, I fucking hate Trump, and I hate all these fucking MAGA people. Yeah. It's just awful.
It is. It's terrible. And the guy singing Jesus Love Me, he does that on purpose, and he should immediately be removed from like the gene pool. He should be segregated by himself. Gross, gross, gross.
It's forced capitalism, forced religiosity. I mean, it's just always, that's why I think the evangelicals and the capitalists go so well together, because evangelicals, it's a pyramid scheme. You have to keep recruiting. And they're always, it's always proselytizing.
Every time you say that, I'm like, oh my God, she's right. That's just so, you have to keep it going.
You have to keep it going, or you realize, oh my God, this is all bullshit.
Now we know why the 6-year-old's sending those texts. Or 6th grader, my bad.
Yeah. And then, now you know why the preachers are always like, bring a friend. Make sure you bring a friend. And when you go, you have to fill out your information. And again, I know that some of you are Christian light and go to a church that doesn't take Venmo, that probably has decent architecture, where there are religious leaders like that one that told off Trump, that talk about equality and social justice and supporting the marginalized and not judging. And I know that exists. And I know that exists in a lot of spaces. It rarely exists in the Bible Belt.
Right. The bishop in that spoke at the inaugural breakfast
should get run out of Oklahoma.
She would not be welcome in Oklahoma. That would just not be okay. Plus, she wasn't hellfire and brimstone like rah rah enough. She
wasn't talking in tongues.
She wasn't talking in tongues.
Holding a rattlesnake.
Right. All that.
Okay.
Up next we've got Jill.
I have had it with these women who are grandmothers that have to select and choose what they're going to be called as grandmothers.
Yep.
So, there are women that say, well, I would like to be called Nana, or I would like to be called Granny, or I would like to be called Mima, like our incredible Mima Pumps. Yeah. But here's the thing. How about just let the child call you what they want to call you? Like, why are you making this all about yourself and your preference? Like grandma naming conventions, you have to be in control of that too. I don't know. Just be called what your little grandbaby wants to call you, and quit acting like you're entitled to give yourself some preferred grandma naming convention. What the fuck? I don't know. People just make everything so hard.
Yeah.
And I've had it.
I don't. We haven't really talked about performative, overreaching grandparents, and that is a real thing.
It's a gold mine.
That is a real thing. I am so lucky that my parents just have let me and my siblings, they don't like interfere or tell us how to raise our kids. I mean, there have, of course, been times, and I immediately draw a boundary and they immediately acknowledge it. But like the demand, sometimes I think grandparents over insert themselves into their child and their grandkids' lives. And I think it's kind of toxic.
Oh, yeah, it happens all the time. On this point specifically, okay, so as you know, I'm older than Jennifer.
A lot.
And so my friends are starting to become grandparents. And I can't tell you how many conversations that I've had where they're talking about, well, should I be called this or should I be called that? And I'm like, why aren't you just called whatever the kid calls you? Like, I thought that's how it worked. But there's a lot of narcissism in grandparent names nowadays, which was not a thing. I mean, I was the only child on my dad's side, only grandchild. So I just called my grandmother what the words I could say that I called her. And that was it. Like, there wasn't any, okay, now we're going to sit down. You're going to call us memes. And this is how it's going to be. There was none of that. It was just like, meh, 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 and it just evolved. But now they're really, and it bugs the shit out of me because my kids always say, we're going to make our kids call you Pumps.
I love that. They should.
Well, but I feel like that's a hard name to pronounce. It's going to end up being Papa.
Be fine. Why do? Listen,
I mean, I don't care.
Here's the deal. This whole idea that it's going to be a hard name to pronounce, we're already lowering the standards for a segment of the population where the standards are already so low.
Right.
They're only going to be able to not pronounce it for like a year or two, and then they're going to be able to pronounce it.
Yeah. I mean,
you've got to be Pumps.
Pumps.
Yeah, you've got to be. I mean, I know we change your name all the time, but Pumps has always stayed.
You don't think Beaver?
I think that could be a little inappropriate. I like where your head's at, but I think when I play the tape through, that could be incredibly problematic. All right, Kylie, who's next?
Okay, up next we've got Haley.
Okay. Jennifer and Pumps, I'm going to give it to you. Let me fucking tell you what I've had it with. I'm from a little Maggotville farm town in the middle of fucking nowhere, Kansas. And let me tell you what I fucking had it with. I have had it with these so-called Christians who are advocating for anti-trans, anti-LGBTQ, anti-immigrant. One, are you fucking... have they even picked up a Bible and read it? One, Jesus was not white. I know y'all know this. But what... I cannot. Literally, shut the fuck up and read if you're going to preach it. Jesus loved everybody. I'm pretty damn sure if he tried to come into this country, he would be kicked out. And they wonder why so many of my generation, Gen Z, are leaving the church. Have they ever just stopped to think why? Use your fucking brain, bro.
Use your fucking brain, bro.
It's so true. You guys, the Bible thumpers are so exhausting and sanctimonious and stupid. They're not even armed with facts.
Right.
And they walk in and try to sit down and have conversations. And these are the people that are now anti-vaxxers.
Right.
That then when they genuinely get sick, want to go to the same people who told them to get vaccinated. They want to go to that same group where they said, no, we know more than you. They want to go to that same group and then receive some form of treatment where then their expertise is appreciated. This is the problem with magical thinking. You deny facts. And I've never had any use for it. And I am so grateful that I was never indoctrinated. And people think that are religious. Well, Jennifer, do you not have any sense of spirituality? Is there a void in your life? And the answer to that is an overwhelming no. I feel like really fortunate to have the time that I have on this earth because nobody fucking knows what happens afterwards. Nobody knows. Christians will claim that they know, but nobody knows 100%. And I feel very fortunate to have like when you have a dog and you get, 10, 12 years with them. I feel so fortunate that I had that time. I feel so fortunate when I see the earth. I feel, the sense of humanity evolving from generation after generation, trying to leave nuggets for the next and for the next and for the next. What a wonderful experience this whole thing could be. And that's why I get so fucking pissed off that we have just this one life here, that there's all these fucking asshole maggots running around trying to fuck shit up and be mean to people. It pisses me the fuck off. And by the way, Jonah never lived in a whale. It never fucking happened. And Noah it wasn't 900 years old and took all these species on a boat and floated around. You're fucking idiot dumbasses if you believe that shit. It's stupid. Just wanted to slide that in.
And Jesus was not white.
Right.
Like she said, he probably couldn't get admission into the United States right now.
Seriously doubt his mom was a virgin too.
Yeah.
I mean, come on now.
I think that's where the not believing in science, that it probably can trickle it all the way back to there. It's just been magnified under.
And if these people even researched, they would know Christianity is a complete knockoff of Egyptian religions before it. They had born of a virgin. All of the stuff, all of the tricks were actually predated Jesus. But then the evangelicals will come out and say, well, no, Satan did that to question your faith. Those religions were planted by Satan. And then you have the some sixth grader, because it's just, you have this one life. Maybe your religion should be, don't be an asshole. Right. And I know that we all fall into cracks where we're assholes from time to time, but try to fix it and be better the next day. And maybe that should be the religion, because most of the religious people I meet, I don't want anything to do with it. And I certainly don't want to be a part of their belief system. Now, there are some from time to time, like that preacher that called out Trump, that minister, that lady. And she had a really good message. But I think that what I like about her is if I sat down with her and said, look, I'm an atheist, she would say, totally fine. Right. It's 100% fine that we don't believe the same thing. And she probably would not look me in the eye and tell me I'm going to hell, because I bet she doesn't believe in such a childlike, punitive bullshit system.
Yeah. And one other thing, since we're on this subject, I don't want my daughter to die because of your religious beliefs about her reproductive care.
I agree. I don't. Yeah.
I mean, it makes no sense to me why women are dying for somebody else's religious beliefs. I just don't get it.
I know. This is where we're living in a living moment of history.
We are.
Where all of the decades-long evangelical movement that they've done, where they have married in their churches tax-free, which they should not. They should be paying taxes if you get political. But they've married evangelical Christianity with republicanism. And now we are at the climax of that via Donald Trump. And it's so funny that they think like, oh, Jesus picked Trump.
I read that today. I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
It's like, there is not a bigger walking advertisement on the planet than that motherfucker to think, I want nothing to do with that religion.
Right.
Kylie, I didn't realize we were going to make a religious episode today. This podcast is supposed to be funny, but you know what? We let the mouths take us.
Well, and we're in Trump's America. We're going to have to blow off steam.
We are. And I just think that we're not feeling all of this in a vacuum. And I think that we've been on air now for 2.5 years. And the people that have come here have been demonized by religion, or have observed religions demonizing marginalized people, and they don't like it. And there's a sense of social justice that unites us. And there's a sense of togetherness that we feel in that plight for social justice. And I just want everyone to know this, like everybody comes to a space in their life. Like when Angie and I met, she was religious and I wasn't. And then, she kind of had her own evolution to where she was like, God, I don't want to believe bad things about gay people. And, she'll tell her own story about it. But I hope that we can offer a message of hope if somebody's in this type of black and white worldview thinking, that it's not kind nor attractive nor helpful to the human cause to think that you're better than gay people or black people or marginalized people or poor people or sick people.
Right. That there is no moral superiority.
Was that all you have to say?
Well, I thought of something and then I forgot it because my head, I'm the worst. I'm getting old. I had a great thought. It was so brilliant.
That's why I didn't jump in, because I thought maybe you had something to say.
Sometimes it just drops out of my brain right as I'm saying it. It's age.
Yeah. All right. Well, this has been a real uplifting episode of I've Had It. I know that probably you didn't laugh as much, but sometimes I think in Trump's America, we're going to have real moments in episodes where we acknowledge the potpourri of fuckery that we're all witnessing and the pain that it is causing so many people and the fear that so many of our listeners have.
Right.
We'll come back funnier than ever next time.
Just have to vent every now and then.
Don't get your panties in a wad. Chill out. Don't unsubscribe. Don't lose your mind.
We will see you next Tuesday and Thursday.
Listen up, patriots, gaytriots, and natriots. We have a new podcast that has dropped. It's called iHip News. It's Monday through Friday, every day, 15 to 20-minute hot takes on the political landscape of the United States of America, always served with a side of petty grievances.
We are on all the available platforms, Apple, Spotify, Google, whatever you get your podcasts, and YouTube.
Please go rate, subscribe, and review so that we will chart upwards with America's greatest legal mind. Pumps, what does an eagle say?
Caw-caw.
A little bit more enthusiasm.
Caw-caw.
That's it. That's
caw-caw.
That's the patriotism that this country needs right there.